Good morning or afternoon, everyone. We still have a lot of people that are joining us right now, so we'll get started in just a few minutes.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. Certainly appreciate you joining us. It looks like we've got quite a few people on, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. First, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Chris Van Zant. I am the Director of Training and Strategic Accounts here at AdSellerant. And today I am joined by Addie Earls.
Hi there. I'm Addie Earls. I am the Director of Sales here at AdSellerant, and I manage our professional services team and work with our partners on a daily basis, doing training and fulfillment for our partners.
Thank you, Addie. So today, Addie and I are going to be discussing where digital dollars are currently being spent. Obviously, with the current pandemic situation, things have changed quite a lot. So ad dollars have shifted quite a bit. We've seen some industry trends shift quite a lot as well. And people are utilizing different tactics to make sure that we're targeting the right areas and that we're actually targeting the right customers and helping them reach their clientele. So let's first talk a little bit about AdSellerant and who we are. We are a technology and digital advertising company focused on making quality digital marketing accessible to every business. What that really means from our level is that we are bringing Madison Avenue level digital marketing solutions to Main Street businesses. We have a proprietary software known as UI.marketing. For those of you that work with it on a daily basis, I'm sure you're familiar. But what this is really built on and what it helps us do is scale sales, operations, and reporting in one place that everybody can have access to. We were listed by Inc. magazine on their top 5,000 list last year as the 83rd fastest growing company in the US. And our team consists of 80 individuals mostly located here in Denver. We've got some folks in California and Indiana as well. Our team is, a group of executives, business development folks, account management people. We have some folks on the agency side, and then we also have some folks on our engineering team, as well as our operations team as well. What we really focus on doing for our partners is utilizing cutting edge technology as our software system that I mentioned earlier, and our professional services team, so our account management team and our operations arm, to offer product trainings and technology and help people execute digital sales. When we talk about advanced advertising, we utilize UI.marketing to provide clients with comprehensive and total digital agency softwares. So from this list over here on the right-hand side, we pretty much cover every digital marketing opportunity out there, and that's really what we offer to our partners on a daily basis.
Hi there. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited to be here speaking with you. So one thing this group I'm sure knows is that ad spend has definitely shifted since this pandemic has began. But how and what does that mean to you? Whether we like it or not, the pandemic has certainly affected advertising, not just in the US, but globally. This chart shows how different forms of advertising have shifted for the first half of 2020. As you can imagine, we are seeing decreases across the board for the most part. However, there are some glimmers of hope in there. Out-of-home advertising has decreased about 19%, and TV advertising has decreased by about 21%. However, the digital products have not been affected as negatively, and actually one area has increased, and that's digital video. That's things like pre-roll, OTT, and YouTube. People are consuming media much more than ever before. Display and search are down a little bit, but not nearly as much as other products. The last slide we showed you what's happening across the world. Now we want to show you what we're seeing here at AdCellerant. This graph shows our product mix from April to May as we started the recovery from the pandemic. We like to think that April was really the bottom of the barrel. The products that we have seen the most traction with have been email. We've seen an 80% increase. OTT, we've seen a 69% increase. Video and ad mix, we've seen a 22% increase. We'll go over what ad mix is later on in the webinar if you're not familiar with it. And then with search, we've seen a 10% increase. This represents what we feel like are new emerging products that are going to be key to our advertiser success moving into pandemic recovery life. So we've talked about how the pandemic has affected advertising both globally and at the local level. Now we want to move into industry trends that we see both globally and here at AdCellerant. And then most of all, talk about how we see it working for you and how you can use it. You might ask, are there any thriving industries amidst this pandemic? It seems detrimental across the board. But believe it or not, yes, there are. Healthcare, for one. It's no longer news that this is the boom period for businesses in the healthcare industry. A lot of medical products and services are in high demand, like surgical masks and hand sanitizers, etc. Though saving lives is really paramount in times like that, that's not stopped these healthcare companies from, smiling and going to the bank. Another thriving industry is technology. Organizations, including businesses, government agencies, or religious bodies, they've been forced to modify the way they operate in order to simultaneously keep their employees safe and ensure that their operations don't grind to a halt during the pandemic. More people than ever before are working remotely, so this phenomenon's really elevated the telecommuting platforms that might have once seemed like luxuries. They're now just kind of the bare essentials of our workday, such as the program they're on right now, Zoom. Education, in particular e-learning, has really taken off. For many, this lockdown has been an opportunity for self-improvement, and they have seized it to develop their knowledge and expand their skill set by taking online courses online. And parents have also had to enroll their children in online academic programs while waiting for schools to resume. And then home services. This one's fairly obvious as people have been under stay-at-home orders for many months and they're staying closer to home. So they're focusing in on their nest and how to improve them. So from HVAC to flooring companies, carpet cleaning, roofers, these are all areas that have really been thriving amidst the pandemic. So it's easy to read about industries that are thriving globally, but how does that apply in your local market? How can you translate it into dollars for your organization? So we wanted to kind of, pull the hood up and show you beneath the surface and, show you what industry growth we are seeing from our partners at the local level. So this chart shows industry growth from our partners by comparing April insertion orders by industry to our May insertion orders by industry. Where do we see the most growth? Look at those numbers from retail, entertainment, and tourism. Anywhere from 650% growth to 550% growth. This really shows us these industries that are re-emerging from the pandemic. Tourism and retail were hit really hard in March and April, but May they started that climb out. We also see a huge lift in cannabis advertising and automotive. Industries that we expected to see growth in and we consider thriving in the pandemic also grew, such as education, healthcare, and home services, just not at this exponential rate we saw with retail, entertainment, and tourism. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Chris to start us out with some industry strategies.
Thanks, Addie. Yeah, one of the things we wanted to do today was really dive into specific industries and some of the strategies that we're seeing folks utilize to win business. One of the things that I've preached over this COVID pandemic is that 85% of shoppers do research online before they make a purchase. Now, while a lot of that previously was brick and mortar stores, now we're seeing those purchases happen online. So making sure that somebody has an e-commerce platform in place is a great way for them to recover revenue that they may have lost due to the pandemic. In April, 41% of respondents said that they had shifted more of their shopping from physical stores to online purchases, and that's up from 13% in March. So that's a huge jump. A lot of those retail stores are reopening at this point. So making sure that they're still offering curbside services, free shipping, special incentives to get people back to their website to finalize those purchases is very, very important. Nearly half of American small businesses do not have websites. That's a huge opportunity if that business can work with a partner to get that in place. It's a great way to drive conversions on their website and increase revenue overall. We're also going to talk about some daily utilized strategies that we've put in place. For this particular strategy, we utilized a product known as Device ID Address Match, where we target residential device owners, and we layered in programmatic display to target people behaviorally. Not only did we see a 0.11% click-through rate, which is above the industry standard here, but we also saw 52 people complete online purchases on this advertiser's website. So again, going back to driving conversions and increasing revenue by getting people to the website and completing those cart purchases.
So entertainment, this is an area we've really seen a resurgence in. So what are some of the strategies that we can use to win business in this area? First off, this is an industry that has really been paused. For example, movie theaters, gyms, bars, museums, zoos, casinos, they've all been closed down and now they're slowly starting to reopen. So it's a great time to get in front of potential customers and let them know that they're open. Some businesses are going to stay closed longer. And so we recommend really focusing in on those that are currently open or set to open in July or August. People are really hungry for these businesses to open and are excited to have them open again. There's been a 100% increase in searches for boredom since the last year. So although people are really ready for these businesses to open, they are still cautious. So it's really important that you are promoting outdoor events, patio concerts, sidewalk and community-based parties, because that's going to attract more customers. It's also summertime, so it's a great time to focus in on family-oriented business for summertime activities. So this is a success story that we saw in the entertainment business. And what we recommended for this client to use to announce that their venue is now smoke-free is just utilizing programmatic display to behaviorally and demographically target people who had exhibited interest in the entertainment a casino provides. We included search and site retargeting in this bundle as well. So what was interesting with this is, out of the 85,000 impressions that were served, we captured 84 clicks and had a 0.1% CTR, which is higher than the industry's average. But what the client was so impressed with was the post impression and the post-click engagement. So that's someone that has seen an ad, didn't click on it, but came back to their website later on, or clicked on or made multiple clicks on their website. They ended up actually extending their current campaign through the summer and are now exploring complementary product opportunities. So that just goes to show you how strong a well laid out programmatic display campaign can be. I think I speak on behalf of everyone on this webinar. I think we could all use a long vacation right now. So the good news is that we're starting to see this industry advertise again, just in a very different way. Travel and lodging industries are focusing less on traditional summer vacation ideas to drive interest in visitors. This summer and fall will be more the era of staycations and vacations within driving distance. More people are going to choose to jump in the car versus jumping on a plane right now. So these advertisers are going to have to highlight lower rates and highlight social distancing, trips with fewer people, outdoor adventures. Every message should allude to people having space and being safe. Even though people want to travel, they're still going to be cautious. So you've got to highlight those safety measures. The success story we saw here was a client wanted to really increase their reservations and bookings. So we recommended that they utilize our device ID product. That's where we can target consumers' devices who have been in various locations in the past to increase brand awareness as well as target competitors. So out of the devices we targeted, not including those on the property, we found that 33 devices came and stayed at this hotel. Well, what does that mean? Well, the advertiser only spent a mere $800 over the course of this campaign. And with an average room rate of $170 a night, the advertiser gained $5,610 in revenue. That ROI was 7 times the campaign spend. I'd say it was well worth it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Addie. One of the industries that we work with quite a lot here in Colorado that seems to be a little bit unique still is the cannabis industry. We work with it in many states, but obviously we got front row seats being here in Denver. And one of the strategies that I always recommend when I talk to any partner of ours is make sure that you know the dispensary. Make sure if they focus on medical over recreational or both. Sometimes they are marketing different sides of that business, so you really want to know what their focus and goals are. There's a lot of competition in this industry. Again, being here in Denver, Colorado, there's a lot of dispensaries around. So we want to make sure that we know what makes that specific business unique and what their specific goals are so that we can really pinpoint a strategy for them. How can we help them stand out? How can they really stand apart from their competition? Offer branding and awareness-based campaigns or different products to help boost recognition in the area. There's many dispensaries located around my house, and there's certain names that stand out to me every single time, whether that's just because I see their branding and marketing solutions all over the place, or they just have clean signage and offer, an array of products that are very well focused and put together. Focus on a single or multi-location businesses. Again, many of these are multi-location businesses, so we want to make sure that we're marketing for each location to the right areas. Work with dispensaries to advertise things that are not necessarily cannabis focused. So balms, salves, and CBD products are super popular these days. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting things for people who do not necessarily consume cannabis. Highlight specials, incentives, discounts, and loyalty programs. I've heard from many people that having loyalty programs in place for the cannabis industry is a great way to bring people back time and time again. So one of the success stories that I wanted to point out today was for a dispensary that we've been working with. And they were really looking to effectively target people who are 21 plus, obviously, and interested in alternative medicine products. We recommend utilizing an email campaign, which is really nice because historically we were not able to utilize email for this industry, but now we have the ability to do so. So we obviously targeted folks that were 21 plus who were interested in cannabis, CBD, and other alternative medicines that they had on site. And we were able to showcase a message for their holiday buy one, get one free special offer. The client was able to attribute a 1,600% increase in the number of sales during the weekend that the email was deployed. So that was only 25,000 sends, and our reporting showed a 12.39% open rate, as well as close to a 3% click-through rate. So again, we're driving folks to their website and seeing the dividends from that. One of the other industries that we certainly work a lot with here is going to be real estate. For those of you that are not familiar with Colorado's real estate market, it has been booming for years. We always want to make sure that we're reaching out to those local real estate agents and brokers and trying to find the best digital marketing solution for the areas in which they work. We want to target people who are buying and selling homes. And we also want to look for people who are looking to rent homes or apartments. The rental market, again, in Colorado is huge. You're looking for, to promote rental spaces in your area. This is a really great area of focus for us, and we can get very refined in our targeting. Encourage the agents that you work with to advertise historically low mortgage rates or quick closings or special financing options that might be available. Use those specific marketing conditions to drive that message home and make sure that that message is out for everyone to see. Continue to encourage social distancing. Virtual tours are something that I've seen quite a lot of. And I've also seen a lot of real estate agents that I'm friends with, posting notes on Instagram or on Facebook where they're wearing facial coverings or highlighting specific cleaning techniques that they have utilized before a showing to encourage that safety aspect and make sure that people are comfortable to come to those showings. For this particular advertiser, obviously there's so many real estate offices in the area. We really recommended a targeted display campaign mixed in with programmatic pre-roll. For those of you who are not aware of what programmatic pre-roll is, that is a video display campaign. So all of the same targeting is going to be in place there. We can get very granular and hone in on desired target audiences. So for people that are in market for homes and who are looking to relocate to specific areas. Results for this one, the client was extremely pleased with the results. They were able to attribute a significant number of increases in new customers and case volume as a direct result of our efforts. So really what we focused in on was driving people to those specific agent pages and making sure that they saw increased volume of traffic from it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. So moving on to healthcare, healthcare is an industry that's been extremely paramount during this pandemic. Communication from healthcare companies and doctors' offices are more important than ever because patients, they need to know how to protect themselves and their families, and they need to know when to call, how to visit. People are unsure how to communicate and how to visit doctors' offices these days. So having these businesses communicate that message is absolutely key. Encourage these businesses to make sure that their websites and their Google My Businesses are up to date. I Googled my doctor the other day just looking for some information and nothing was up to date, and it was extremely infuriating. It's important that businesses showcase that their staff is trained for these scenarios to instill confidence in, the potential people that might walk in the door. If they've been closed, have them send, patients or the public a reopening message with hours of operations, ways they're keeping their employees and their potential patients healthy and safe. This client's goal in this success story was really to increase new clients for plastic surgery procedures. And the challenge was that it's hard to identify individuals that were in the market for these procedures because, it's such a specialized service. So for this, we recommended a product that we have called a device ID address match. And this is a program where we are able to capture the mobile devices of subscribers based on a list that is provided to us. The client booked 144,000 impressions to be served over a 1-month period. With our device ID technology, we're able to provide a point of interest attribution report. Some might call it a foot traffic attribution report. And it showed that 13 subscribers from this list physically walked into the client's brick and mortar location, resulting in 30 total visits. If an advertiser can provide a list of customers who have purchased something from them during the course of a campaign, we can match it back to devices we target. This shows them exactly how many people we targeted that actually converted into customers. It's extremely powerful ROI. So education, this is a category that really hits home, I think, for any parent who's lived through this pandemic. I have had a 6-year-old daughter by my side the past 3.5 months. So, I've constantly been clamoring for information about how to educate her at home while I'm also trying to work, and just hopeful that she'll be back in a safe environment in a physical classroom this fall. So, now more than ever, it's important to guide prospective students through the decision-making process. Digital advertising can be used to promote degrees and educate potential students on the benefits and the differentiators of the school. Life has changed dramatically for all of us. Therefore, it's going to be very important to highlight different class options, whether that be online or in person, as well as how to make it affordable in this environment. Something that is a little different about education is that there are many influencers in a prospective student's journey to choosing a school, whether that be a high school, a college, so it's a great idea to create a messaging strategy to cater to different individuals. For example, you might want to target financial information to parents and perhaps campus culture targeted to students. So this client wanted to reach individuals who were in the market for continuing education to really increase enrollment for their upcoming online semester. The challenge that they faced was reaching, qualified and interested individuals in this really competitive space. So our solution was to run a programmatic email campaign targeting education seekers who have completed high school or attended a vocational or trade school. We also sent 2 additional redeploys to individuals who had opened or interacted with the emails from this campaign. The email campaign had great results with a 13.3% open rate and 1,881 clicks to the website. Email is just a great opportunity for clients to personalize their unique brand message and stand out among the crowd. There's a lot more space in there than a typical banner ad would have.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with education. As you know, I'm in a very similar situation. So we'll certainly continue to update everybody with what we know when it comes to the education industry. The next one that I wanted to talk about is automotive. As many of you know, this can be one of the most important markets when it comes to digital advertising or advertising in general. And I think as we look towards the future, road trips are really going to become one of the preferred vacation methods for most families. It's really one of the only ways that they can ensure that they're going to stay safe is by traveling within their vehicle, not necessarily getting on a plane or other public transportation. So now is really the time to appeal to those who need a reliable vehicle for their family and those who are looking for service for other vehicles that they may already own. When it comes to different strategies on how to win business, we've really started to highlight no or minimal contact options for our advertisers. People are not necessarily as willing to go on site to shop, to sell their cars, or to get repairs. So being able to offer that no contact option is still crucial. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the fact that people are swapping out flights for road trips. How can we market to different advertisers who may not be automotive dealers, but may also work within the automotive industry? So certainly things to keep in mind. We obviously highlight those tune-up specials, any repair specials, and service in general across the board has been paramount. And we also want to make sure that we're showcasing financing options. With low interest rates, we certainly want to make sure that we highlight those for all of the automotive dealers that we work with. We also want to make sure that we just have an overall well-rounded digital advertising strategy for any of these auto dealers. For this particular advertiser that we worked with, auto sales had seen a significant slowdown because of the pandemic. We wanted to make sure that we put together a digital strategy that was going to help them jumpstart their business and slowly allow for those auto purchases. For this one, we recommended the dominant blend we recommend the dominant blend here, which allowed us to target very granularly. Now, obviously, there's going to be the visual aspect with any display campaign, but what it really comes down to is making sure that we can target people that are either in market for or have an intent to buy a specific product. In this case, is a very specific type of automobile. The ad engagement that we saw across the campaign was really high. We saw a 0.17% click-through rate. That's about 3 times higher than the national average or the industry benchmark. So our goal here was to make sure that we saw that spike, and we continue to see that spike as this campaign continues to run.
So now we're going to move into, where your potential customers are and how do we go about reaching them. So where are your potential customers? Well, they're still out there. They just aren't as mobile as they were last summer. They're adopting and intensifying new behaviors, and those behaviors are primarily digital ones. Those include shopping on new websites, shopping at new grocery stores, perhaps trying curbside pickups, using telemedicine. There are several categories where consumers are increasing their participation, such as entertainment streaming or quick service drive-through restaurants. The new normal, my goodness, if I have to hear that again, and I cannot believe I just used it, but the new normal has started to emerge. Consumers who have switched to new brands or retailers largely intend to stick with them. The stats say that nearly 3/4 of consumers who have switched to a store brand indicate they intend to continue with them. Consumers also intend to reduce in-person activities such as travel, going to the mall and attending movies, kind of into the longer term. But they're also going to strongly intend to continue digital pastimes such as online streaming and fitness, as well as physical activities such as spending time outdoors. In contrast, solutions that are specific to the COVID crisis, such as workarounds for largely in-person activities like restaurant curbside pickup and remote learning, those are less likely to stick around once the crisis passes. But, consumers haven't been engaging in many activities outside of the home, besides maybe, what do we do? Shop, work, and seeing their families. And, of consumers who have not yet re-engaged with out-of-home activities, 4/5 are waiting for a big milestone beyond the lifting of restrictions. They're really waiting for medical authorities to voice their approval and safety measures to be put into place. So as consumers contemplate returning to shopping in stores, cleaning and sanitizing is the #1 priority. So where are your potential customers? Well, your potential customers are in your business community. They're out there, they're just acting in different ways now. So we're going to discuss a few interesting ways that you might be able to engage with them in the future. So one great idea to gain prospects is to host a town hall meeting. As a community leader, if you're a media organization, media companies have the opportunity to share news, information, and host a virtual open forum with local business leaders. You have the best platform in order to do that. We recently had a partner that decided to host a series of town halls and found it extremely advantageous to their positioning. It's a great way for the community to come together as a whole and pool resources. And in the business community, you can really identify what resources are out there and how everyone can use them. Everyone has a story, and by sharing them, someone might benefit from them. I think now more than ever, we have to pull our ideas and our heads together to really pull ourselves out of this pandemic and still, be stronger on the other end. Another way to engage your community is to host an educational webinar, kind of like what exactly we're doing right now. The time of doing in-person seminars will return, and I for one, am really looking forward to that. I'm really tired of talking on Zoom 24/7, but for right now, it's better than nothing, and it's where we need to be safe. So digital consumption and online sales is growing at a faster clip than expected, largely due to this pandemic. Do your prospects know that? Do they know that online sales are up 52% since the pandemic started, and more than 204 people, 14 plus million people, will make online purchases this year? And 2/3 of them will be 45 years of age and older. Business owners are thirsty for information about how their business can be using digital advertising to get in front of customers that may not be shopping in their store as much in the near future. They need information. I mean, information is king here. So, we recently had a partner who hosted a 3-part education webinar series during this pandemic. And the focus of the series was really on generating business in the current times and highlighted 3 main products: device ID, email, and video. And it was a remarkable success. As you can see from the stats here, we had a total of they had a total of 187 registrations, about an average of 62 per session, and had about 114 attendees. That's an average of about 38 per session. So, the big thing is, what were the results? They've had 5 new deals so far from it. They had the new average deal size was over $8,000. They've had 3 upsells, 10 plus appointments just for one of their 4 divisions, and an average of 3 to 5 new appointments per webinar. In June, they'll be back at their pre-COVID revenue, and July is slated, and I just looked at the numbers this morning, to be their best revenue month in history. So it can be done. So, one more tactic that we can use to reach prospects is, using your platform or other technology resources to gain feedback from your advertisers, customers, and the community. Ways in which you can do that. I mean, I should go back and say that, feedback is also paramount in this pandemic. 2-way communication. People want to hear from you. They want to hear from brands, and they want to hear from, clients out there. They want to hear from business owners. So ways in which you could do this would be to implement a chat widget. It sounds like a really scary term, and it could be really complicated, but they're much simpler than you might think. And if you have a lead page or an advertising information page, this widget is just going to increase the likelihood that someone is going to connect with you. Another idea would be to conduct surveys. Invite feedback from the business community after a virtual event or in partnership with a local business organization. I think I've said it before, information is power. We need one another right now in order to grow and to come out of this stronger on the other side. So now that we've talked about ways to find and engage your potential customers, we're going to pivot into digital products that we would recommend using to reach them with your specific message. The products that we recommend are based on global trends we're seeing, as well as the spikes in usage on AdCellerant's platform. So we're going to quickly walk through OTT, a product called AdMix, our email platform, and Better Chat, which is a chat widget. So OTT, I think many of you on this webinar know that this has been one of the fastest growing advertising mediums in the past year. And the pandemic has done nothing but increase time spent with streaming television. Lord knows that my house has been streaming so much television since this started that that it's a little unnerving to look at the data on that some weeks I see. So as you see from the graph, the average time spent with OTT video content in the US will surpass 62 minutes per day this year. And personally, I'll predict this will be much higher due to the pandemic. And that's up 23% from 2019. So as people are spending more time with OTT and this medium, it's allowed new streaming platforms to launch with an abundance of premium content. This is somewhere your advertisers need to be going into post-COVID recovery. And then AdMix. For those of you that don't know what AdMix is, it's a really popular product that's in AdCellerant's digital portfolio. And it's so popular due to the fact that advertisers can test multiple different platforms for one flat cost. So these campaigns typically include targeted display advertising, Facebook and Instagram, and then YouTube. We also have various different video mixes of this as well too. But the concept of it is we optimize for a flat fee. We optimize between these platforms to really extend your reach and results and focus in on the platform that is performing best based on what your advertiser's KPI is. So if we see that YouTube is performing a lot better than display, we will shift the budget over to YouTube and focus in on that platform. And we base it completely on what your advertisers' goals are and what their KPIs are. I'm going to turn it back over to Chris to talk to you a little bit about our email product now.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, it's incredible to see how much growth we've seen from OTT and AdMix. I've always touted the AdMix product because it allows advertisers to test out a few products, and we can really optimize based on performance, like you said. So I think that's a great option. Really, two products that I see that I don't necessarily see being utilized as much as I think they should are the chat widget, as Addie mentioned, but also email. Email is a rather simple product to utilize. It's got a pretty short turnaround time, and it's great for holidays that are coming up, like 4th of July and Labor Day. When we see those short advertising cycles for holidays like the 4th of July, we want to make sure that we can get a large or a message out to a large group of people very quickly, and that we're seeing the right type of activity from it. The nice thing about email is that it is securely delivered, so we are targeting people who are 100% opted in to receive those emails. We are CAN spam compliant. We have about 1.5 million pieces of fresh data that we scrub our platform for every month, so we're replacing emails constantly when people opt out. We have a database of over 2 million businesses B2C and B2B businesses that we can target. So a ton of people that we can reach out to. The nice thing, as I mentioned, is that people are opting into these via e-subscriptions, e-registrations, and an extensive network of permission-based websites. So again, people are opted in to receive these. This product is really starting to replace direct mail. And we look at it as a digital direct mail solution and really helps people enhance their marketing strategies. One of the best ways to get people to advertise digitally is to drive new traffic and branding to their websites. I've mentioned this a couple times in this webinar right now, but we want to make sure that we are not only promoting via branding and awareness, but we're also getting direct response. So getting people to the website, getting them clicking on specific pages, and then obviously the eventual goal is always conversion. So we want to leverage our advanced targeting capabilities. Email is programmatic, much like display, with a few differences, but we can get really granular in our targeting. So there's a lot of different options when it comes to email. And as I mentioned before, when we look at a holiday like 4th of July that typically has a shorter advertising cycle, we want to make sure that products like this are being used by our partners and their advertisers to make sure they're getting effective strategies out there. The other one that's really interesting now is chat widgets. Addie's mentioned this a couple times now. We have a product that's referred to as Better Chat. And this is a system that is live and online 24 hours a day. This allows you to customize the messaging that comes from the widget on your website, and we can make it very industry or business specific to allow people to log on and ask questions, and it will eventually direct them to the right person within your business to make sure that you are able to get in front of those people and help with those conversions. It's about 1/3 of the cost of any live chat feature that I've seen. So it saves not only on money, but it also saves on labor. So you don't necessarily have somebody on site answering those messages 24 hours a day. This can be tied in with text messaging and Facebook communication channels. So again, it's really functional and allows you to get messages from multiple different areas. It's really efficient when it comes to decreasing call times. And we want to make sure that we're able to route those messages to the right people. Really what the results that we're seeing from Better Chat are an 80 to 95% increase in chat completions versus 35% with live chat features. So again, it's about making sure that you're capturing those inquiries, you're diverting them to the right people, and that people are there that are able to respond to them right away. So certainly want to thank you guys for joining us today. We really want to open it up for some questions and answers. I've seen quite a few come through. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that chat feature.
Yeah, it looks like we had one that was asking about, insight into Facebook and Instagram spending trends. Have they recovered or still lower? So, this was something I was reading just the other day, that Facebook and Google actually, their first quarter, their profits were higher than they expected than in first quarter. However, second quarter, it took a little bit of a dip. So, I think we're seeing everyone take a little bit of a dip. I think that is due mainly to April. I think we saw a lot of recovery across it. Most companies saw a lot of recovery across the board in May. I think June is seeing even more. We obviously don't have the full stats on June yet, as it's not over yet.
Yeah. It looks like we have another one regarding the ad mix product. It says, do you need a 15-second commercial or would a 30-second commercial work? So I would typically recommend both if you have them. It allows us to access different inventory, and also, just gives us the option to run a commercial that may or may not perform better. So I've seen both work well, but I would highly recommend both if you can get them.
Great questions. We have 15 minutes here of the time for any other questions that you might have. Just feel free to either put it in the chat box or drop it in the question and answer box.
I did want to mention that we will also be sending this deck out as well as the video. So you guys can all expect that after the webinar. But yeah, if you guys have additional questions, we're certainly here to answer those. And any additional inquiries that you have, you can always reach out to myself or Addie. Again, my name is Chris Van Zant, but our team is really here to help. We'll certainly stay on for another couple of minutes to see if there are any additional questions. Does the client need to implement digital storefront before using BetterChat? That's a great question. So if the client has a website or an e-commerce platform in place, we can implement BetterChat without the digital storefront piece. If they are looking to implement or to get a new website set up via our digital storefront platform, then yeah, we can absolutely implement the BetterChat piece of that for them. Or if they have taken over management of that e-commerce platform at that point, then it's a really easy process for them to get that set up. So certainly something we can do. I certainly encourage you to reach out to me directly if you've got questions on that. Thanks.
So as far as with ad mix, there's a question here of what categories of business work best with ad mix product. I would definitely say businesses, that are looking more top to middle funnel when it comes to, it's really not going to be best when it comes to, bottom of the funnel advertising if you're looking to get, or create form fills or anything like that, just because we're utilizing multiple different products and, we can't drive in on those conversions as much at that point in time. But I think any business that has, that wants to, get their feet wet in a bunch of different products and test them out without, making the commitment to each one. What we see a lot of too is someone will run an ad mix campaign for 3 months or for 6 months. They'll see that, maybe one area of ad mix is performing really well. So their next campaign that they do will focus just on that product. So Chris, do you have anything to add there?
No, I think that's great. I think one of the great things about AdMix is that, as I mentioned earlier, you get to try out multiple different products. But if we find that after a 3-month period of running that campaign that it's not driving the conversions that we want it to, again, which it's not really built to do, then we can start implementing additional products. Paid search is obviously going to be the tip of the iceberg when it comes to driving conversions. Actually, I should say it's the tip of the spear. We really want to make sure that we're utilizing that product to get people to go to websites and then purchase products or make the conversion, whatever that is. Again, I think it's a good test case to use AdMix, and then we can certainly pivot from there and make recommendations outside of it. But for people that are new to the digital advertising game, AdMix is a great way to dip your toe in, and then we can always work on the strategy after that. Looks like we had an additional question come in. What do you find to be the most common weakness of reps that I work with? And what do we feel would help them execute more efficiently and effectively? That's a great question. You know, I think that everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses. You know, in my opinion, one of the things that's very important when you're a rep out selling digital advertising or any products in general, it could be owned and operated or whatever that might be, could be, you know, newspaper sales, whatever. You know, I think making sure that you are getting out and talking to people, making, you know, a specific number of calls each week, and then also making sure that you are increasing your proposal request counts on a weekly basis is huge. What we see from our end is that the more reps are requesting proposals, the more money they're making, the more business they're selling, and, you know, just the more successful they are in general. You know, you really can't win the game if you're not taking shots. So the whole goal here is to make sure that repetition is in play and that you're getting as many proposals out to as many people as you possibly can.
You know, I would add there too that, you know, I don't think that, you know, I think a common weakness of reps is thinking that they have to know everything in the digital space and they have to be the experts when it comes to it. And when you're a traditional media rep, you have so much you have to know, so much you have to sell, so much you have to learn. You know, really relying on us to create the proposals for them, and you know, helping them on sales calls and helping on, you know, to close the business, I think is really important. And you know, as Chris said, you know, sales, as much as I dislike math, sales is a numbers game. So, I mean, it's just the more proposals that you can get out there, the more times that you can talk to someone and pitch them, you know, the more you're going to win.
Absolutely. It looks like that is the last question we have. If there are any others, please feel free to type them in now. Awesome. Well, it doesn't look like we have any others. I would just say, you know, if you guys have specific questions on anything we talked about today or anything related to your business, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Addie. That's what we're here to do. You can always reach out directly to your account manager as well. But if you're looking to set up webinars or anything like that, just let us know and we're happy to oblige.
Thanks, everyone. It was great to be with you all today, virtually be with you all. We hope next time, sometime in the future, it can be in person.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.